Maya Brooks never imagined that one innocent wave from her 6-year-old daughter would shatter the carefully built walls around her heart. For 2 years, she'd convinced herself that Evan Hart was just a painful memory, the wealthy white man who'd vanished without a trace after their passionate love affair ended in heartbreak. But when little Brielle pressed her tiny hand against that tinted limo window and chirped, "Hi, Daddy," to a complete stranger, Maya's world exploded into 1,000 pieces. What she discovered next would force her to question everything she thought she knew about betrayal, abandonment, and the man she'd once loved more than life itself. The truth about why Evan disappeared would change 3 lives forever, but not before his ice-cold mother would try to destroy everything. Maya held dear with a briefcase full of money and threats that would make any mother's blood run cold. If you're watching this incredible story unfold, hit that subscribe button and tell me what city you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers from around the world. The grey clouds hung low over downtown like a heavy blanket. Maya Brooks pulled her jacket tighter and squeezed her daughter's small hand. The October air smelled like rain. "Mama, look!" 6-year-old Brielle pointed at the long black car parked by the curb. "It's a limo." Maya's heart did a little flip. She knew that car. She knew the man who drove it. "Come on, baby. Let's get to the bus stop before it starts raining." Maya tugged gently, but Bree had already broken free. The little girl ran up to the dark window and pressed her nose against the glass. Her breath made a small cloud on the surface. "Hi, Daddy," she called out, waving her free hand. In the other, she clutched a crayon drawing from preschool. Maya's world stopped spinning. The window rolled down with a quiet hum. A man with kind brown eyes and messy blonde hair looked out. His face went pale when he saw Maya standing there. "Maya?" Evan Hart's voice was barely a whisper. Time stretched like taffy. Cars honked in the distance. People walked by with umbrellas tucked under their arms. But Maya could only stare at the man she hadn't seen in 2 years. Evan. She couldn't think of anything else to say. Bri bounced on her toes. "Look what I drew." She held up her picture. It showed a black limo with 3 stick figures inside. At the bottom, in wobbly letters, she had written, "Dad?" Evan's eyes went wide. He looked at the drawing, then at Bree, then at Maya. His mouth opened, but no words came out. "Mama says my daddy drives a fancy car," Bree explained, her voice bright with pride. "Are you my daddy?" The first drops of rain started to fall. Maya felt like she might throw up. This wasn't how she wanted this to happen. Not here. Not like this. Evan got out of the limo slowly. He was taller than Maya remembered. His work shirt was pressed and neat. He knelt down so he was eye level with Bri. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Brielle Brooks, but everyone calls me Bree." She smiled, and Maya saw the dimple in her left cheek, the same dimple Evan had. Evan saw it too. His breath caught in his throat. "Bree," he repeated. "That's a beautiful name." The rain was getting heavier. Other parents were rushing past with their kids, heading for cover. Maya finally found her voice. "We should go." "Wait." Evan stood up. "Please, can we talk? Just for 5 minutes?" Maya's chest felt tight. Part of her wanted to grab Bree and run. Part of her wanted to stay and finally say all the things she'd been carrying around for 2 years. "There's a diner on the corner," Evan said. "We could get some hot chocolate." For Bree. Bri clapped her hands. "Can we, Mama? Please?" Maya looked down at her daughter's hopeful face. Then she looked at Evan. He looked scared and confused and sorry all at once. "5 minutes," she said. The diner smelled like coffee and old grease. Maya slid into the red vinyl booth across from Evan. Bree sat next to her, coloring on the paper placemat with crayons the waitress had brought. 2 steaming mugs sat between them like a peace offering. Evan wrapped his hands around his coffee cup. Maya stared at her hot chocolate and tried to think of where to start. "How long have you known?" Evan asked quietly. Maya glanced at Bree, who was busy drawing purple flowers around the edges of her placemat. "Since she was born. Maybe before." "Before what?" "Before you disappeared." The words hung in the air like smoke. Evan winced. "I didn't disappear," he said. "My phone was stolen. Remember? That night when my car got broken into? I had to change my number and I tried to call you," Maya said. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook a little. "For weeks. The number was disconnected. I know. I figured you'd try. But by the time I got a new phone," he rubbed his forehead, "I thought you didn't want to talk to me. After our fight." Maya remembered that night. They'd been dating for 8 months. Things were getting serious. Then Evan's mum made one of her comments about Maya not being suitable for the family image. Evan hadn't stood up for her. Not really. So Maya told him they were done. A week later, she found out she was pregnant. "I tried to find you," she said. "I went by your old apartment. Your neighbor said you moved. I moved in with my mum for a while, after the breakup. She said it would be better if I started fresh, deleted my social media accounts, cut ties with—" He stopped himself. "With me," Maya finished. "I was stupid," Evan said. "I was hurt and stupid, and I let my mum run my life." Bri looked up from her coloring. "Mama, who's this?" Maya's heart pounded. She'd practiced this conversation 100 times in her head, but never like this. Never in a diner with rain drumming on the windows. This is Evan, baby. She took a deep breath. "He's your daddy." Bri's crayon stopped moving. She looked at Evan with wide brown eyes, Maya's eyes. "Really?" Evan's voice cracked a little. "If that's okay with you." Bri thought about this seriously. Then she smiled. "Do you like pancakes?" Evan laughed, and the sound was warm and real. "I love pancakes." "Good. Mama makes the best pancakes in the whole world." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. This was her baby girl. So trusting, so open, everything Maya had tried so hard to protect. Evan was staring at Bri like she was magic. "How old are you, sweetheart?" 6 3/4, Bri said proudly. "My birthday was in May. Mama made me a princess cake with pink frosting." Maya watched Evan do the math in his head. She saw the exact moment he realized that Bri had been born 9 months after their breakup. "Maya," he whispered, "did you try to tell me about the pregnancy?" Maya pulled out her phone with shaking hands. She scrolled through her old emails until she found the ones she'd sent 2 years ago, the ones that had bounced back with error messages. She turned the screen so Evan could see. "Mailbox not found," he read out loud. Maya nodded. "I sent you 12 emails. Then I called your work. They said you'd quit." Evan's face went white. "Oh God. Maya, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." The waitress came by to refill their coffee. Maya pulled her phone back and tucked it away. Bri was drawing a limo now, complete with little wheels and a stick figure waving from the driver's seat. "I need some air," Maya said suddenly. She felt like the walls were closing in. Evan nodded. "Of course." But as Maya started to slide out of the booth, Bri caught her hand. "Where are you going, Mama?" "Just outside for a minute, baby. Keep coloring." Evan leaned toward Bri. "Want to tell me about your drawing?" Maya stepped outside the diner and gulped the cool, damp air. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister Lena. "Where are you?" "Bri's teacher said you picked her up early." Maya typed back quickly. "Long story. At the diner on 5th Street. Can you come?" "On my way," came the reply. When Maya went back inside, Evan was kneeling next to the booth. Bri was showing him her picture and chattering away about her preschool class. "This is my best friend Emma," Bri was saying, pointing to a stick figure with yellow scribbles for hair. "And this is Mrs. Rodriguez. She teaches us Spanish. And this," she pointed to a larger figure, "is you." Evan touched the edge of the paper gently. "You drew me. Mama showed me a picture once. She said you were tall with messy hair." Bri giggled. "Your hair is really messy." Evan ran a hand through his hair and smiled. "Yeah, it's kind of hopeless." Maya slid back into the booth. Watching Evan with Bri made her chest tight in a different way. He was so gentle with her, so patient. "Bri," Maya said softly, "can you color quietly for a minute? The grown-ups need to talk." "Okay, Mama." Bri went back to her drawing, humming a little song under her breath. Evan looked at Maya across the table. "I want to be part of her life," he said, "if you'll let me." "It's not that simple," Maya said. "Why not?" "Because you left before. Because I spent 2 years thinking you abandoned us. Because you don't trust me," Evan finished. Maya nodded. "I can't get hurt again. And I won't let Bri get hurt. I understand. But Maya, I didn't know. If I had known," he shook his head, "I would have been there. For both of you." "How do I know that?" "Because I'm here now." Before Maya could answer, the diner door chimed. Lena Brooks walked in, shaking raindrops from her jacket. She was 5 years older than Maya and had the same warm brown skin and fierce protective streak that had kept Maya safe their whole lives. Lena's eyes found Maya in the booth, then moved to Evan. Her expression went cold. "Lena," Maya said quietly. Maya, Bree. Lena's voice was carefully neutral. She looked at Evan. And you must be the disappearing act. Evan stood up. I'm Evan. Evan Hart. I know who you are. Lena didn't shake his offered hand. What I don't know is what you're doing here. Lena, Maya warned. But Lena was already sliding into the booth next to Bree, who threw her arms around her aunt's neck. Aunt Lena, look, I found my daddy. Lena's expression softened as she hugged Bree. I see that, baby girl. He likes pancakes, Bree announced, and he has messy hair like in the picture. Lena looked at Maya, then at Evan, who was still standing awkwardly by the table. Sit down, she said finally. 5 minutes is over, but we need to figure this out. The rain was really coming down now. Maya could see it streaming down the diner windows, making everything outside look blurry and grey. Evan sat back down slowly. He kept glancing at Bree, like he couldn't believe she was real. So, Lena said, her voice sharp, where exactly have you been for the last 6 years? Lena, Maya said again. No, it's okay, Evan said. She deserves to know. He looked at Lena. I've been here, in town. I didn't know about Bree. Convenient, Lena said. My phone was stolen the night Maya and I broke up. I had to change my number. I moved. I didn't get her messages. Lena's eyebrow went up. And you never thought to reach out? In 2 years? Evan's jaw tightened. I thought she hated me. After our fight, I thought she wanted me gone. So you made sure she got what you thought she wanted. I was young and stupid and hurt. And now? Evan looked at Bree, who was adding a sun to her drawing with a yellow crayon. Now I want to be the father I should have been all along. Maya felt something twist in her chest. The way he said it, so quiet and sure, it reminded her of why she'd fallen for him in the first place. Lena studied Evan for a long moment. You hurt my sister, she said finally. You broke her heart. I know. And now you want to waltz back in and play daddy. I want to earn the right to be in their lives, Evan said. However long that takes. Bree looked up from her drawing. Aunt Lena, are you mad at my daddy? Lena's face softened again. No, baby. I'm not mad. I'm just careful. Mama says it's good to be careful. But not too careful, or you miss all the good stuff. Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks. She'd said that to Bree just last week, when Bree was afraid to try the monkey bars at school. Evan smiled. Your mama is very smart. I know, Bree said matter-of-factly. She teaches little kids, so she has to be smart. What do you teach? Evan asked Maya. Preschool. At Little Sprouts Academy. That's perfect for you, he said. And Maya remembered how he used to say she was magic with kids, how he'd watch her interact with his nephew at family gatherings and get this soft look in his eyes. That was before his mother decided Maya wasn't good enough for the Hart family name. We should go, Maya said, looking at her watch. It's almost dinner time. Wait, Evan said. He pulled out his phone. Would it be okay if I got your number? The current one? Maya hesitated. Lena was watching her carefully. I'm not asking to rush anything, Evan said quickly. I'd like to know how to reach you, in case Bree wants to talk, or if you need anything, or... Okay, Maya said. She gave him her number and watched him type it carefully into his phone. Thank you, he said. They all stood up to leave. Bree grabbed her crayon drawing and held it out to Evan. For you, she said. So you remember what I look like? Evan knelt down and took the picture with both hands, like it was made of gold. Thank you, Bree. I love it. Do you have a refrigerator? Mama puts my best pictures on the refrigerator. I do have a refrigerator, and this is definitely going on it. Bree beamed. Then, without warning, she threw her arms around Evan's neck in a quick hug. Maya saw Evan close his eyes and hold very still, like he was afraid if he moved, the moment would disappear. When Bree pulled back, she patted his cheek. Your face is scratchy. Evan laughed. Sorry. I'll shave next time. It's okay. I like it. They walked to the door together. The rain had slowed to a gentle drizzle. Maya opened her umbrella and pulled Bree close. Maya, Evan said. Would it be okay if I saw you both again? Tomorrow, maybe? Just for an hour? Maya looked at Lena, who shrugged. Your call, sis. Maya looked at Bree, who was watching a puddle form near the diner steps. The park, Maya said finally. Tomorrow at 10. For 1 hour. Relief flooded Evan's face. Yes, absolutely. Which park? Riverside. By the playground. I'll be there, Evan said. He pulled out his phone and set a reminder. showing Maya the screen. 10 a.m. Riverside Park, 1 hour. If you're late, I won't be late, Maya nodded. Okay then, okay. They stood there for another moment, rain misting around them. Then Bree tugged on Maya's hand. Mama, I'm hungry. I know, baby. Let's go home. As they walked away, Maya heard Evan's voice behind them. Bye, Bri. Bree turned around and waved. Bye, Daddy. And Maya's heart did that flip again. Because despite everything, despite the hurt and the fear and the 2 years of carrying this secret, hearing her daughter say those words felt like coming home. That night, after Bri was asleep, Maya sat at her kitchen table with a cup of tea and stared at her phone. Evan had texted once. Thank you for today. Sleep well. Maya had started to reply a dozen times. But what could she say? That seeing him again had turned her whole world upside down? That watching him with Bri had made her heart race and break at the same time? That she was terrified of hoping again? Her phone buzzed. Another text from Evan. I can't stop looking at her drawing. She's beautiful, Maya. Just like her mum. Maya set the phone down with shaking hands. Outside her apartment window, she could hear the rain still falling, washing the city clean for tomorrow. In her daughter's room, Bree was probably dreaming of limos and pancakes and a daddy with messy hair who liked her drawings. And for the first time in 2 years, Maya let herself wonder if maybe, just maybe, some stories got second chances. She picked up her phone and typed back, see you tomorrow. Then she turned off the light and tried not to think about brown eyes and gentle hands and the way her heart had recognized him, even before her mind caught up. Tomorrow would be soon enough to figure out what came next. The next morning came too fast and not fast enough. Maya woke up before her alarm, her stomach full of butterflies. She'd barely slept, replaying yesterday over and over in her mind. The shock on Evan's face, the way he'd knelt down to talk to Bri, how gentle his voice had been when he said her daughter's name. Mama? Bree padded into the kitchen in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. Is today the day we see Daddy at the park? Maya's heart squeezed. Yes, baby. Are you excited? Uh-huh. Bree climbed onto her chair and reached for the cereal box. Do you think he'll bring toys? I don't know. We'll see. Emma's daddy brought a soccer ball to the park once. But I don't like soccer. I like swings. Maya poured orange juice into Bri's favorite cup, the one with butterflies on it. What would you like to do with Daddy? Bree thought seriously while she crunched her cereal. I want to show him how high I can swing, and maybe we can feed the ducks. Do you think he likes ducks? I think he'd like whatever you like. At 9:45, Maya found herself standing at the entrance to Riverside Park, holding Bree's hand and checking her phone for the third time. Her palms were sweaty despite the cool October air. There he is, Bree pointed across the grass. Evan was walking toward them, and Maya's breath caught. He looked different in jeans and a navy sweater. Younger, more like the man she'd fallen in love with 2 years ago. He was carrying something bright red in his hand. Hi, he said when he reached them. His cheeks were pink from the cool air. I hope I'm not late. Maya checked her watch. 9:58. You're early. I've been here since 9:30, he admitted with a sheepish smile. I was nervous. Bri giggled. Grown-ups get nervous too? All the time, Evan said. He held out the red object, a simple diamond-shaped kite with a long tail. I brought this, if you want to try flying it. Bree's eyes went wide. I never flew a kite before. Really? Well, today's perfect for it. Not too windy, not too calm. Maya found herself smiling despite her nerves. That was thoughtful. They walked to the open field beyond the playground. Evan showed Bree how to hold the string while he got the kite ready. Maya sat on a nearby bench and watched. Okay, Evan said. I'm going to run with the kite, and when I let go, you pull on the string gently. Ready? Ready. Evan jogged backward across the grass, the red kite dancing behind him. When a gust of wind caught it, he let go. Pull, Bri. Bree tugged the string, and the kite soared up into the grey sky like a red bird. She squealed with delight. I'm doing it. Mama, look, I'm flying a kite. Maya laughed. I see, baby. You're doing great. For the next 20 minutes, Evan patiently helped Bree keep the kite in the air. When it got tangled in a tree, he climbed up to get it free. When the string got twisted, he untangled it without getting frustrated. Maya watched him carefully. This was the test, she realized, how he acted when things didn't go perfectly. Want to try making the kite dive like an airplane? Evan asked Bree. Yes, He showed her how to pull the string sharply to make the kite dip and soar. Bree giggled every time it swooped toward the ground. Then it happened. Bree was running backward, watching the kite, when she tripped over a tree root. She went down hard, scraping her knee on the rough ground. Maya jumped up from the bench, but Evan was already there, kneeling beside Bree. "Hey, it's okay," he said softly. "Let me see." Bree's eyes were full of tears, but she wasn't crying yet. The scrape on her knee was bleeding a little. Evan pulled a small first aid kit from his pocket, just basic supplies in a plastic bag. "This might sting a tiny bit, but then it'll feel better. Is that okay?" Bree nodded bravely. Maya knelt down too, ready to comfort her daughter, but she found herself watching Evan instead. His hands were steady as he cleaned the scrape with an antiseptic wipe. He didn't rush or get flustered. He just took care of what needed to be done. "You know what?" he said as he opened a bandage. "I have the exact same scar on my knee from when I was your age." "Really?" "Really. I was riding my bike too fast and crashed into a bush." He smoothed the bandage over her scrape. "My mom put a bandage with cartoon cats on it. Made me feel much better." "This one has flowers," Bree said, examining her bandage. "Even better. Flowers are prettier than cats." Bree tested her knee carefully, then smiled. "It doesn't hurt anymore." "You're very brave," Evan said. Maya felt something shift in her chest. Something that had been tight and guarded for 2 years started to loosen just a little. 10 minutes later, they were sitting on a bench, sharing the snack Maya had packed. Apple slices and goldfish crackers that Bree ate with her usual messy enthusiasm. "Daddy," Bree said suddenly. The word came so naturally that both Maya and Evan went still. "Do you live in the limo?" Evan smiled. "No, sweetheart. I have an apartment, but I drive the limo for work. It belongs to the company." "What company?" "Hart Transportation. We drive people to important places, like weddings and fancy parties." "Have you driven movie stars?" "Not yet, but I drove a lady to her daughter's graduation last week. That felt pretty important." Bree nodded seriously. "Graduation is very important. Emma's big sister graduated from high school, and they had a party with a huge cake." Maya watched this exchange, her heart doing strange things in her chest. Evan was so natural with Bree. Like being a dad was something he'd been waiting his whole life to do. "What time is it?" Maya asked, checking her phone. "They'd been here almost an hour." "Do we have to go?" Bree asked. "I want to show Daddy the duck pond." Maya looked at Evan, who was trying not to look too hopeful. "Maybe a few more minutes," she said. The duck pond was at the far end of the park. Bree ran ahead while Maya and Evan walked slowly behind her. "Thank you," Evan said quietly. "For this, for letting me." "You're good with her," Maya said. It wasn't easy to admit, but it was true. "She's amazing. You've done such a good job raising her." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. "It's been hard sometimes, doing it alone. You shouldn't have had to. If I had known." "You keep saying that, but you didn't know, and now you do. So what happens next?" Evan stopped walking. "What do you want to happen next?" It was the question Maya had been afraid to ask herself. What did she want? She wanted Bree to have a father who showed up, who kept his promises, who bandaged, scraped knees and brought kites to the park. She wanted to trust again. She wanted to believe that some people were worth the risk. "I don't know," she said honestly. "I'm scared." "Of me?" "Of this. Of hoping. Of getting hurt again." Evan nodded. "I understand. But Maya, I'm not going anywhere this time. I promise." "Promises are easy to make. Then let me prove it." They reached the duck pond, where Bree was already crouched by the water's edge, watching a family of ducks paddle around. "Can we come back here again?" Bree asked when they joined her. "I want to bring bread for the ducks." Maya and Evan looked at each other. "If your mama says yes," Evan said carefully. Maya felt the weight of the decision. This was bigger than just feeding ducks. This was about letting Evan into their lives, really letting him in. "We'll see," she said finally. That afternoon, Maya was cleaning up toys in the living room when her phone buzzed. A text from Evan. "Thank you for today. Bree is incredible. Would it be okay if I stopped by sometime this week? Maybe after school? I could bring a puzzle or something quiet." Maya stared at the message for a long moment. Bree was in her room, supposedly napping but probably playing with her dolls instead. Another text came through. "No pressure. Just let me know what works for you." Maya typed back. "Wednesday afternoon, 5 p.m. The lobby of my building, 1 hour." The response came immediately. "Thank you. I'll be there. Maya set her phone down and looked around their small apartment. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, furniture from thrift stores and hand-me-downs. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. What would Evan think when he saw how they lived? His family had money. Maya remembered his mother's big house with the fancy furniture and fresh flowers in every room. Then she shook her head. This was her home. Bree's home. If Evan couldn't accept that, then he wasn't the man she hoped he was. Wednesday came faster than expected. Maya got home from work at 4:30 and found Bree already waiting by the window. Is Daddy coming today? Yes, baby. At 5 o'clock. Can I show him my room? Maya hesitated. Having Evan in the lobby felt safe, controlled. Having him in their apartment felt intimate. Like crossing a line she wasn't ready to cross. We'll see, she said. At exactly 5 o'clock, Maya and Bree were sitting in the small lobby of their building. The space had seen better days, worn carpet, plastic chairs, fluorescent lights that hummed too loudly. But it was clean, and it was neutral territory. Evan knocked on the glass door right on time. He was carrying a small shopping bag and wearing the same nervous smile from the park. Hi, he said when Maya let him in. Hi yourself, Bree said, bouncing up from her chair. What's in the bag? A puzzle. It has horses on it. Do you like horses? I love horses. I'm going to have a horse when I grow up. A white one with a long mane. They settled at the small table in the corner. Evan pulled out a 100-piece puzzle showing horses running through a field. It was perfect for Bree's age, challenging but not impossible. Maya sat in a chair nearby, pretending to read a magazine while she watched them work together. This piece looks like it might go here, Evan said, pointing to a section of blue sky. No, see, it's too round. This one fits better. Bree tried a different piece and beamed when it clicked into place. I'm good at puzzles. You really are. You're much better than me. Maya found herself smiling. Evan wasn't one of those adults who felt the need to be in charge all the time. He let Bree lead, only offering help when she asked for it. My teacher says puzzles make your brain stronger, Bree said, concentrating on a section of brown horse mane. Your teacher is smart. What's your favorite subject at school? Art and story time. Yesterday, Mrs. Chen read us a book about a bunny who lost his mother. Maya looked up sharply. Books about lost parents were a trigger for Bree sometimes. Did the bunny find his mother? Evan asked gently. Yes, she was just hiding behind a tree. She never really left him. That's a good ending, Evan said. I like stories where families find each other again. Bree looked at him seriously. Like us? Evan's hand stilled over the puzzle pieces. Yeah, sweetheart, like us. Just then, the building's main door opened and Mr. Alvarez walked in. He was Maya's landlord, but more than that, he was a friend, a gentleman in his 60s who'd lost his wife 2 years ago and treated Bree like the granddaughter he never had. Maya, mija, he said warmly, then stopped when he saw Evan. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. It's okay, Maya said, standing up. Mr. Alvarez, this is Evan. Evan, this is Mr. Alvarez. He's our landlord. And our friend, she thought but didn't say. Evan stood up and shook Mr. Alvarez's hand. Nice to meet you, sir. Likewise. Mr. Alvarez looked between Maya and Evan with curious eyes. Family? Maya felt her cheeks heat up. Evan is. He's Bree's father. Mr. Alvarez's eyebrows went up, but his expression stayed kind. Ah, well, it's good to meet Bree's papa. Mr. Alvarez grows the best tomatoes, Bree announced from the table. He gives us some every week. Is that right? Evan said. I love tomatoes. Maybe next week I'll bring extra, Mr. Alvarez said with a twinkle in his eye. For family game night. Maya started to correct him. They weren't having family game nights, but Mr. Alvarez was already heading toward the stairs. I should let you get back to your puzzle, he called over his shoulder. Nice meeting you, Evan. When he was gone, Evan sat back down slowly. He seems nice. He is. He's been very good to us. Especially after Bri was born, Maya thought, when she was exhausted and broke and didn't know how she was going to manage everything alone. Mr. Alvarez had brought groceries and offered to babysit, and never once made her feel like a charity case. They worked on the puzzle for another 20 minutes. Bri chatted about school and her friends and the art project she was working on. Evan listened to every word like it was the most important thing in the world. When the hour was up, most of the border was finished, and they'd made good progress on the horses. Can we finish it next time? Bree asked. Maya looked at Evan, who was carefully not looking too hopeful. If there is a next time, Maya said. There will be, Bree said with 6-year-old confidence. Right, Daddy? If your mama says it's okay, Evan said carefully. Maya felt that tug in her chest again, the pull toward hope that scared her so much. We'll see, she said. As they packed up the puzzle pieces, Evan's phone rang. He looked at the screen and frowned. Sorry, it's my work. I should, he answered the call. Heart Transportation, this is Evan. Maya watched his face change as he listened to whoever was on the other end. No, Mrs. Patterson, that's not a problem at all. I can be there in 20 minutes. Yes, ma'am. I'll wait as long as you need. He hung up and looked apologetic. I'm sorry. I have a client who needs a ride to the hospital. Her husband fell and… Go, Maya said immediately. It's fine, but we're not done with our time. Evan, go help the lady. He looked relieved. Thank you. I'll call you later? Maya nodded. Drive safe. Bree hugged him goodbye, another spontaneous gesture that made Maya's heart flip. Then she and Maya watched from the lobby window as Evan jogged to his limo and drove away. He seems like a good man, Mr. Alvarez said quietly. Maya jumped. She hadn't heard him come back downstairs. I hope so, she said. A man who drops everything to help someone in trouble? That tells you something about his character. Maya looked down at Bree, who was still waving at the spot where the limo had been. I don't want to make another mistake, Maya said quietly. Mija, Mr. Alvarez said gently. Sometimes the biggest mistake is being too afraid to try. That night, after Bree was asleep, Maya sat at her kitchen table with a cup of tea and her laptop open. She'd been working on lesson plans for her preschool class, but her mind kept drifting to brown eyes and gentle hands and the way Evan had rushed off to help a stranger. Her phone buzzed with a text. Mrs. Patterson's husband is okay. Broke his wrist, but he'll be fine. Thank you for understanding. Maya smiled and typed back. I'm glad he's okay. You did the right thing. Bree is amazing, by the way. You've raised an incredible little girl. Maya stared at that message for a long time. She'd gotten used to doing everything alone, making all the decisions, being the only one who worried about Bree's future. Having someone else care about her daughter, really care, felt strange and wonderful and terrifying all at once. She was about to put the phone away when another message came through. I know this is probably too much to ask, but would it be okay if I brought Bree breakfast sometime? I remember you used to love those apple cinnamon muffins from the bakery downtown. Maya's breath caught. He remembered. After 2 years, he remembered her favorite muffins. Before she could talk herself out of it, she typed, Saturday morning, 7:30. Nothing fancy. The response was immediate. Thank you. Sweet dreams, Maya. Maya set the phone down and pressed her hands to her warm cheeks. This was really happening. Evan was really back in their lives. And for the first time since she'd seen him through that limo window, she let herself wonder if maybe that was okay. Maybe even more than okay. Saturday morning arrived, bright and cool. Maya woke to the sound of Bree singing in her room, something about horses and rainbows and flying to the moon. At 7:28, there was a soft knock on the apartment door. Maya opened it to find Evan holding a paper bag and 2 cups of coffee. Good morning, he said, and his smile was warm and real and just a little nervous. Morning, Maya said. She was wearing jeans and an old sweater, her hair in a messy bun. Not exactly company ready, but Evan looked at her like she was beautiful anyway. I brought muffins, he said, holding up the bag. Apple cinnamon from Rosie's bakery. And coffee. I remembered you liked it with just a little cream. Maya felt her heart skip. You didn't have to. Daddy! Bree came running down the hall in her pajamas and threw herself at Evan's legs. He laughed and hugged her back, nearly dropping the coffee cups. Good morning, sunshine. You're up early. I was waiting for you. Can we eat the muffins now? Please? Maya looked at Evan, who was looking at her hopefully. I guess you'd better come in, she said, stepping aside. It was the first time Evan had been in their apartment, and Maya watched him take it all in. The small living room with the second-hand couch and coffee table covered in Bree's art projects. The kitchen with its old appliances and mismatched dishes. The photos on the refrigerator, mostly pictures of Bree, but a few of Maya and Lena and their parents. If Evan was judging, he didn't show it. He just looked around like he was seeing something wonderful. This is nice, he said. It feels like a home. Maya felt some of her tension ease. It's not much, but it's perfect, Evan said, and the way he said it made her believe he meant it. They sat at the small kitchen table, sharing muffins and orange juice, while Bri chatted about her plans for the day. She wanted to go to the park again and maybe the library, and definitely the place with the ice cream cones shaped like flowers. "That's a lot for one day," Maya said with a laugh. "We don't have to do it all today," Bri said seriously. "Daddy can come back tomorrow and we can do the ice cream then." "Right, Daddy." Evan glanced at Maya. "If your mama says it's okay." Maya felt the familiar flutter of panic. This was moving fast. Too fast. But then she looked at Bri's hopeful face and Evan's careful expression, and she thought about what Mr. Alvarez had said. Sometimes the biggest mistake was being too afraid to try. "We'll see," Maya said. But for the first time, she said it with a smile. And when Evan smiled back, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. The farmer's market on Saturday afternoon was Maya's favorite place in the whole city. Local vendors sold fresh vegetables and homemade bread under colorful tents. Street musicians played guitar on the corners. Children ran between the stalls with sticky fingers and wide smiles. Maya had been coming here with Bree since she was a baby. It was their special tradition. Today, for the first time, Evan was with them. "Look at all the pumpkins." Bree ran ahead to a stall overflowing with orange gourds of every size. "Can we get one, Mama? Please?" "We'll see," Maya said. But she was already pulling out her wallet. October meant pumpkins, and Bri had been talking about carving one for weeks. Evan knelt down next to a particularly round pumpkin. "What do you think, Bri? This one has good carving potential." "How can you tell?" "See how smooth the sides are, and it sits nice and flat. That means it won't roll around while we're working on it." Bri examined the pumpkin seriously. "You know how to carve pumpkins? I used to help my dad when I was your age. Before." Evan's voice trailed off. Maya knew what he meant. Before his father died when Evan was 8. Before his mother became the only parent, determined to control every aspect of his life. "Will you help me carve mine?" Bri asked. Evan looked at Maya, asking permission with his eyes. "If your mama says it's okay." Maya felt that familiar tug in her chest. "We usually carve pumpkins the night before Halloween. It's kind of a tradition." "I love traditions," Evan said softly. They bought the pumpkin and wandered through the rest of the market. Evan carried the heavy gourd without complaint, even though it was bigger than Bri's head. They stopped at the face-painting booth, where a teenager with purple hair painted a butterfly on Bri's cheek. "You look beautiful, sweetheart," Evan said when it was finished. Bri preened in front of the small mirror. "I'm going to show everyone at school on Monday." "They're going to be so jealous," Maya said, snapping a picture with her phone. As they walked toward the flower stand, Maya noticed a woman across the way, pointing at them and whispering to her friend. Both women were staring at Maya, Evan, and Bri, with curiosity written all over their faces. Maya's stomach tightened. She recognized one of them, Mrs. Chen, from the grocery store near Bri's school. A nice enough woman, but one who loved to talk. "Mama, can we get flowers for Mr. Alvarez?" Bri was tugging on Maya's hand. "He said his wife used to love yellow roses." "That's very thoughtful, baby." Evan was already talking to the flower vendor, an elderly man with soil under his fingernails and laugh lines around his eyes. "Yellow roses for a special lady?" the vendor asked. "For a friend," Evan explained. "His wife passed away, and we wanted to brighten his day." The vendor's expression softened. "Ah, a good gesture. I'll give you the freshest ones." Maya watched Evan pay for the roses without being asked. It was a small thing, but it said something about who he was. The kind of man who noticed when a lonely neighbor might need cheering up. They were walking toward the parking area when Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Lena. "Girl, you need to see this. Check the neighborhood Facebook page." Maya's blood ran cold. She stopped walking and pulled up the page on her phone, while Evan entertained Bree with a story about a pumpkin that came to life. There, posted 20 minutes ago, was a photo of the three of them at the face-painting booth. Maya was laughing at something Evan had said, while Bree sat in the chair getting her butterfly painted. They looked like a family. The caption read, "Anyone else notice Maya Brooks has been keeping secrets? Who's the mystery man with the fancy car? Secret boyfriend or baby daddy? Inquiring minds want to know." Maya's hands started to shake. "Maya?" Evan was looking at her with concern. "What's wrong?" She showed him the phone. She watched his jaw tighten as he read the post. "It's already got 15 comments, Maya whispered. Evan looked around the market, spotting the woman who'd been staring earlier. She was holding her phone up, trying to get another picture. "Come on," he said quietly. Let's get Bri out of here. But Bri had wandered over to pet a vendor's friendly dog and was happily chatting with its owner about different breeds. She had no idea that strangers were gossiping about her family on the internet. Maya's phone buzzed again. More comments on the post. Then a text from a number she didn't recognize. Saw the post about you and the white boy. Interesting choice. Maya, breathe. Evan's voice was calm and steady. Look at me. She looked up from her phone. His brown eyes were serious but not panicked. This doesn't matter, he said. What strangers think doesn't matter. It matters to me. It matters for Bri. Why? Maya gestured helplessly. Because now everyone's going to be talking about us, making up stories, judging. Let them talk. You don't understand. I've worked so hard to build a life here, a reputation. People respect me at Bri's school, at work. What if they find out you're a good mother who's trying to do what's best for her daughter? Evan asked gently. What if they find out Bri has a father who wants to be in her life? Is that really so scandalous? Maya looked at her phone again. More comments. Some supportive, some nosy, a few downright nasty. Maya, look at me, Evan said again. We can handle this together, just like we've been handling everything else. Together. The word hit her like a surprise. When was the last time someone had said we when talking about problems in her life? Mama, Bri came running back over. The dog knows how to shake hands, and his name is Buster. Maya forced a smile. That's wonderful, baby. Can we go home now? I want to show Mr. Alvarez the flowers. Yes, Maya said. Let's go home. That evening, Maya sat on her couch with her laptop open, reading through all the comments on the Facebook post. Most were harmless curiosity, but a few made her stomach churn. Single moms these days have no shame. Poor kid doesn't even know who her daddy is. Typical. Black girl gets knocked up and then the guy disappears until it's convenient. Maya slammed the laptop shut and pressed her hands to her face. This was exactly what she'd been afraid of. The judgment, the assumptions, the way people would look at Bri differently now. Her phone rang. Evan. Hi, she answered, trying to keep her voice normal. How are you holding up? I'm fine. Maya. I'm not fine. I'm angry and embarrassed, and I want to delete my entire social media presence and move to another state. Understandable. But you know you're not going to do any of those things. How do you know? Because you're stronger than some strangers with keyboards and too much time on their hands. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. What if this affects Bri? What if the other kids at school? Then we'll handle it. Together. There was that word again. Evan, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Always. Maya took a deep breath. Are you embarrassed? About being seen with us? The silence on the other end lasted so long that Maya started to panic. Evan? I'm trying to figure out how to answer that without getting angry, he said, finally. Not angry at you. Angry at whoever made you think you're something to be embarrassed about. Maya's breath caught. Maya, you are the strongest, most beautiful, most incredible woman I've ever known. Bri is the brightest light in any room she enters. If anyone has a problem with me being seen with you, that says everything about them and nothing about you. A tear slipped down Maya's cheek. I've worked so hard to prove that I can do this, that I'm a good mother, that Bri and I are fine on our own. You are fine on your own. You're amazing on your own. But maybe you don't have to be on your own anymore. Maya closed her eyes. There it was, the thing she'd been afraid to even think about. I'm scared, she whispered. I know. I'm scared too. Of what? Of messing this up. Of not being good enough for you and Bri. Of my mother interfering and ruining everything. Maya's eyes flew open. What do you mean, your mother interfering? Another pause. She's been asking questions. About you. About Bri. She wants to meet her granddaughter. Maya's stomach dropped. Evan, I told her not yet. I told her we need to take this slow. But you know how she is. Maya did know how she was. Caroline Hart was the woman who'd made it clear 2 years ago that Maya would never be good enough for her precious son. The woman who'd encouraged Evan to start fresh after their breakup. I won't let her hurt you again, Evan said quietly. Either of you. What if she tries to? What if she wants custody or… Maya, stop. That's not going to happen. I won't let it happen. Maya wanted to believe him, but Caroline Hart was rich and well-connected, and Maya was just a preschool teacher living in a modest apartment with a daughter she'd raised alone. I should go, Maya said. Bri has school tomorrow. Okay. But Maya, Don't let them win. The people gossiping online, my mother, whoever. Don't let them make you doubt what's right. After she hung up, Maya went to check on Bri. Her daughter was fast asleep, clutching her stuffed rabbit and smiling in her dreams. The yellow roses Evan had bought were in a mason jar on Bri's nightstand, filling the room with their gentle scent. Maya smoothed Bri's hair and whispered, "Sweet dreams, baby girl." In the kitchen, she made herself a cup of tea and tried not to think about Caroline Hart or gossipy neighbors or the complicated mess her life had become. But as she was getting ready for bed, her phone buzzed with one more notification, a friend request on Facebook from Caroline Hart. Maya stared at the screen for a long time. Then she turned off her phone and went to bed. She'd deal with Caroline Hart tomorrow. Sunday morning came grey and drizzly. Maya woke up to the sound of rain pattering against the windows and Bree singing in the shower. She'd hoped for a quiet day at home, maybe some laundry, a puzzle, pancakes for lunch. Instead, at 10:30 in the morning, there was a firm knock at her apartment door. Maya looked through the peephole and her heart sank. Caroline Hart stood in the hallway, perfectly put together despite the rainy weather. Navy coat, pearl earrings, not a hair out of place. "Maya," Caroline said when the door opened, "I hope you don't mind me stopping by. I was in the neighborhood." It was a lie, of course. Caroline lived on the other side of town in a neighborhood where the houses had gates and the lawns were maintained by professional crews. "Mrs. Hart," Maya said carefully, "this isn't really a good time. I'll only take a minute. I thought we should talk. About Brielle." Maya's grip tightened on the door handle. "I don't think that's necessary. Please, just a few minutes. Surely we can be civil adults about this." Before Maya could respond, Bree appeared at her side, dressed and ready for the day. "Mama, who's that lady?" Caroline's expression softened as she looked at Bree. "Hello, sweetheart. I'm Mrs. Hart. I'm Evan's mother." Bree's eyes went wide. "You're Daddy's mama?" "I am, and that makes me your grandmother." Maya felt sick. "Bree, why don't you go play in your room for a few minutes?" "But I want to meet Daddy's mama." "Bree, room, now." Something in Maya's tone made Bree obey without another word. She disappeared down the hall, but Maya knew she was probably listening from her doorway. "May I come in?" Caroline asked. "I think we have a lot to discuss." Every instinct Maya had told her to say no, to close the door and pretend this conversation wasn't happening. But Caroline was Bree's grandmother. Like it or not, that meant something. "5 minutes," Maya said, stepping aside. Caroline walked into the small living room and looked around. Her gaze lingered on Bree's art projects taped to the walls, the second-hand furniture, the stack of library books on the coffee table. "It's cozy," she said finally. Maya crossed her arms. "What do you want, Mrs. Hart?" "To talk about my granddaughter, and what's best for her." "What's best for her is stability, love, a safe home. She has all of those things." "I'm sure she does. You seem like a devoted mother." Caroline's tone suggested that devoted wasn't necessarily a compliment. "But surely you want what's best for Brielle's future." "I do, which is why I'm being very careful about who I let into her life." Caroline smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. This situation with Evan. It's complicated." "It's not complicated. He's her father." "Yes, well, that's unfortunate for everyone involved." Maya felt anger flare in her chest. "Unfortunate? Oh, I don't mean Brielle herself, of course. She's a lovely child. But the circumstances. A single mother, an unplanned pregnancy, 2 years of no contact. It paints a certain picture." "What kind of picture?" "The kind that could be very damaging to Evan's reputation, to the family business. Surely you understand." Maya stared at this woman, this perfectly polished, cold-eyed woman, and felt something shift inside her. "Are you asking me to stay away from your son?" "I'm asking you to consider what's best for everyone, including Brielle." Caroline reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. "I've taken the liberty of having some papers drawn up. Nothing legal, you understand, just a private agreement." Maya didn't take the envelope. "What kind of agreement?" "Financial support for Brielle. Very generous support. In exchange for discretion." "Discretion. No more public outings. No more social media posts. No interference with Evan's life or future relationships. Brielle would be well provided for, of course. College fund, private school if you choose." But quietly, Maya felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. "You want me to take money to keep your son away from his daughter?" I want to avoid a messy situation that benefits no one. Benefits no one? What about Bree? What about her having a father? Caroline's expression hardened. Evan is young. He'll move on, find someone more suitable, start a proper family. Brielle will be fine with just you. After all, that's how it's been for 6 years. That was it. That was the moment Maya's patience snapped. Get out, she said quietly. I beg your pardon? Get out of my home. Now, Miss Brooks, I think you're being unreasonable. Get out. Caroline took a step back, clearly startled by Maya's raised voice. I'm trying to help you, Caroline said, to help all of us avoid an unpleasant situation. The only unpleasant situation I see is you in my living room, trying to bribe me to abandon my daughter's father. Think about this rationally. I am thinking rationally. I'm thinking that any woman who would try to buy her way out of acknowledging her own granddaughter is not someone I want in my daughter's life. Caroline's face flushed. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Evan is my son, my only child. I will not let some little gold digger. Don't. Maya's voice was ice cold. Don't you dare. The two women stared at each other across Maya's small living room, Caroline with her expensive clothes and entitled anger, Maya in her jeans and old sweater, shaking with fury. Mama, Bree's small voice came from the hallway. Is everything okay? Caroline looked toward the sound of her granddaughter's voice, and for just a moment, her expression softened. Then, it hardened again. This isn't over, she said quietly. Yes, it is, Maya replied. And if you ever come to my home again without an invitation, I'll call the police. Caroline gathered her purse and coat. At the door, she turned back. You're making a mistake, Miss Brooks, for all of your sakes. Then she was gone, leaving Maya standing in her doorway, heart pounding and hands shaking with rage. Bree appeared at her side again. Mama? Why was Daddy's mama mean? Maya knelt down and pulled her daughter into her arms. Sometimes grown-ups disagree, baby. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. But even as she said it, Maya knew that everything had just changed. Caroline Hart had declared war, and Maya had no idea how she was going to protect her family from what came next. 2 hours later, Evan was sitting on Maya's couch, staring at the envelope Caroline had left behind. His face was white with anger. She came here, he said for the 3rd time, to your home, and tried to bribe you. The money's not the worst part, Maya said. She was pacing back and forth in front of the window while Bree napped in her room. The worst part is that she wants to pretend Bri doesn't exist. Evan opened the envelope and pulled out a check. His eyes widened. Maya, this is a lot of money. I don't care if it's $1 million. I wouldn't take it. No, I know. Of course you wouldn't. I can't believe she thought. He shook his head. I'm calling her right now. Evan, don't. She can't do this. She can't come here and threaten you, and she didn't threaten me. Not exactly. This is a threat, Evan said, waving the check. This is her saying, take the money, or face the consequences. Maya stopped pacing. What consequences? Evan was quiet for a long moment. I don't know, but my mother doesn't make idle threats. The words hung in the air between them like a dark cloud. Maybe I should take Bree and leave town for a while, Maya said quietly. What? No. Maya, no. Running away isn't the answer, isn't it? I could transfer to a different school district, get a job somewhere else, start over where your mother can't. Stop! Evan stood up and crossed to where she was standing. Look at me. Maya looked up at his face. His jaw was tight with determination. I'm not letting her win this time, he said. 2 years ago, I let her convince me that starting fresh meant cutting ties with you. I won't make that mistake again. But what if she tries to use her connections? Her money? Let her try. I'm not 27 and scared of disappointing Mommy anymore. Maya wanted to believe him. But Caroline Hart was powerful and ruthless, and Evan was still just one person. What if she tries to get custody of Bree? On what grounds? That Bri has 2 loving parents who want to be in her life? That's not exactly a scandal. She could say, I'm an unfit mother, that I hid Bree from you for 2 years. Maya, Evan took her hands. Stop spiraling. We'll handle whatever comes. But we're not running away, and we're not letting her intimidate us. What are you going to do? First, I'm going to return this check to her personally. Then I'm going to make it very clear that if she comes near you or Bri again without permission, we'll be having a very different conversation. Maya felt a flicker of hope. You'd really stand up to her? For us? I should have done it 2 years ago. I'm not making that mistake again. He lifted her hands to his lips and kissed her knuckles gently. Maya, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Maya looked into his brown eyes and saw something she'd been afraid to believe in. Strength, determination, love. Yes, she whispered. I can trust you. For now, anyway. Maya barely slept Sunday night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Caroline Hart's cold smile and heard her threatening words. By Monday morning, she felt like she'd been hit by a truck. Mama, you look tired, Bree said over breakfast. She was eating cereal with one hand and coloring with the other, something that usually made Maya smile. Today, Maya could barely manage to drink her coffee. I'm okay, baby. Just didn't sleep well. Are you worried about something? Maya looked at her 6-year-old daughter, so perceptive, so sensitive to the emotions around her. A little, but nothing for you to worry about. Is it about Daddy's mama? She seemed mean. Maya's chest tightened. Sometimes grown-ups have disagreements, but you're safe and you're loved. That's all that matters. Bree nodded seriously and went back to her coloring. She was drawing a house with 3 stick figures standing in front of it. A mommy, a daddy, and a little girl. Maya's heart broke a little. Bree was dreaming of a real family, and Maya was terrified that Caroline Hart was going to take that dream away. Her phone buzzed with a text from Evan. Confronted my mother last night. Didn't go well. Can we talk today? Maya typed back. After work. Call me. But all day at Little Sprouts Academy, Maya found herself distracted. During story time, she lost her place twice. At lunch, she forgot to give Emma her allergy-safe snacks. Mrs. Rodriguez, the school director, asked if everything was okay. Just tired, Maya said. I'll be fine. But she wasn't fine. She was scared and angry and worried about what Caroline Hart might do next. At 3:30, she picked up Bri from school and walked home through the grey October afternoon. The trees were turning gold and red, but Maya barely noticed. Her phone had been buzzing all day with notifications from the neighborhood Facebook page. More comments on the photo, more gossip, more judgment. She was so lost in thought that she almost missed the black sedan parked across from her building. Almost. Maya stopped walking and stared at the car. The windows were tinted, but she could see someone sitting in the driver's seat, watching. Mama? Bree tugged on her hand. Why did we stop? Nothing, baby. Let's go inside. But as they walked toward their building, Maya's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Miss Brooks? This is Detective Williams, with the city police. We've received a complaint about a custody dispute involving your daughter. I'd like to speak with you. Maya's blood turned to ice. I'm sorry. What? A complaint was filed this morning alleging that you've been keeping a child from her legal father. We need to verify the situation. Maya looked at the black sedan again. The person inside was definitely watching them. There's no custody dispute, Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. Brielle's father and I are working things out privately. I understand, ma'am, but we still need to follow up on the complaint. Could you come to the station this afternoon? I have my daughter with me, and I haven't done anything wrong. No one's saying you have, ma'am. This is just routine follow-up. But the complaint did mention concerns about parental alienation, and Maya hung up the phone with shaking hands. Caroline Hart wasn't just threatening anymore. She was taking action. Mama, you look scared, Bree said quietly. Maya knelt down and hugged her daughter tight. It's going to be okay, baby. Everything's going to be okay. But even as she said it, Maya wasn't sure she believed it. 20 minutes later, Maya was in her apartment with the door locked and the curtains closed, frantically calling Lena. She did what? Lena's voice was sharp with anger. Called the police. Filed some kind of complaint about custody. Maya was pacing again, her phone pressed to her ear. Lena, what if they take her? What if... Maya, breathe. They're not taking Bree. You're her mother. You have rights. But what if Caroline has more money for lawyers? What if she convinces them that I'm... Stop. Listen to me. Have you called Evan? He's on his way over. Good. And Maya, don't go to the police station alone. We'll figure this out, but you need someone with you. A lawyer, maybe. Maya laughed bitterly. A lawyer? With what money? We'll figure it out. Just don't panic, okay? Caroline Hart is trying to scare you. Don't let her win. After Maya hung up, she sat on her couch and watched Bri color at the coffee table. Her daughter seemed oblivious to the drama swirling around her. She was humming a little song and adding purple flowers to her house drawing. A knock at the door made Maya jump. She looked through the peephole and saw Evan standing in the hallway. His hair was messed up like he'd been running his hands through it, and his face was grim. "Tell me everything," he said as soon as she opened the door. Maya explained about the phone call, the black sedan, the detective who wanted to see her. Evan's jaw got tighter with every word. "She's lost her mind," he said when Maya finished. "Completely lost her mind." "Daddy," Bree looked up from her coloring. "You look mad." Evan forced a smile. "Just worried about some grown-up stuff, sweetheart. Nothing for you to worry about." Bree nodded and went back to her drawing. "I'm making a picture of our house." "Our house?" "The house where we all live together. See? There's Mama's room, and my room, and your room, and a big kitchen for pancakes." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. Bree was still dreaming of a complete family, even while the adults around her were falling apart. Evan sat down on the floor next to Bree. "That's a beautiful house, sweetheart. Do you like the flowers? I made them purple because that's Mama's favorite color. They're perfect." Maya watched Evan with their daughter and felt something fierce and protective rise in her chest. This was her family. Maybe it was new and fragile and complicated, but it was theirs. And she wasn't going to let Caroline Hart destroy it. "Evan," she said quietly, "what exactly did your mother say last night?" Evan looked up from Bree's drawing. "She accused me of being manipulated by you. Said you were probably using Bree to get money from the family. When I told her that was ridiculous, she said she was going to take steps to protect everyone involved. Steps like calling the police. Apparently." Evan rubbed his forehead. "Maya, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. I should have handled her differently. I should have—" "Stop." Maya sat down across from them. "This isn't your fault. Your mother made her own choices. But I brought this into your life. Into Bree's life." Maya looked at Bree, still happily coloring her dream house. Then she looked at Evan, this gentle, patient man who'd spent the last weeks proving over and over that he was worth the risk. "Do you regret it?" Maya asked quietly. "Finding out about Bree, being here with us?" "Never," Evan said immediately. "Not for a second." "Then stop apologizing. We handle this together." Evan stared at her for a long moment. Together. Together. Maya's phone rang again. Same unknown number. This time, Evan answered it. "This is Evan Hart," he said in a calm, professional voice. "I understand you called Miss Brooks about a custody complaint." Maya couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but she watched Evan's expression change, from worry to confusion to anger. "I see," he said finally. "Well, Detective Williams, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm Brielle's father, and there's no custody dispute. Miss Brooks and I are working together to co-parent our daughter. Yes, I'm sure. No complaint from me. Actually, I think someone may have filed a false report." "More conversation." Maya held her breath. "Thank you," Evan said finally. "We'll be in touch if we need anything else." He hung up and looked at Maya. "The complaint was filed anonymously. Someone claimed that you were keeping Bree from her father and that I was being denied access. But that's not true. I know. And now Detective Williams knows too. He's dropping the investigation." Maya felt some of the tension leave her shoulders. "So we're okay? For now. But Maya, this is just the beginning. My mother isn't going to stop here." As if summoned by his words, Maya's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Offer expires Friday." After that, things get complicated. Maya showed the message to Evan. His face went white. "That's it," he said, standing up abruptly. "I'm ending this right now." "Evan, wait." But he was already heading for the door. "Bree, I'll be right back. Take care of your mama, okay?" "Okay, Daddy." And then he was gone, leaving Maya with a sinking feeling that everything was about to get much worse. Evan was back in less than an hour, but it felt like forever to Maya. She'd spent the time trying to act normal for Bree's sake, while internally panicking about what might be happening. When she heard his key in the lock, when had she given him a key? She rushed to the door. "How did it go?" she asked. Evan's expression was grim. "She's not backing down. If anything, she's doubling down." "What does that mean?" "It means she's hiring a private investigator. It means she's planning to file for grandparents' rights. It means she's going to make our lives hell until we give her what she wants." Maya's stomach dropped. "Grandparents' rights? It's a long shot, especially since she's never met Bree before this week. But with enough money and the right lawyer." Evan shook his head. She's trying to scare us into taking her deal. And if we don't, then we fight. And fighting means lawyers and court dates and... He looked toward the living room where Bree was still coloring and putting Bri in the middle of something she shouldn't have to deal with. Maya felt tears start to flow. I can't do this, Evan. I can't put her through that. Hey, Evan pulled her into his arms. We're going to figure this out. How? Your mother has unlimited resources. I'm just a preschool teacher who raised an amazing daughter completely on her own for 6 years, Evan finished, who built a life and a career and a community that loves her. Maya, you're not powerless here. It doesn't feel that way. Evan pulled back and looked at her seriously. What if we called her bluff? What do you mean? What if we did the opposite of what she expects? Instead of hiding, what if we went public? Really public? Maya stared at him. I don't understand. Thursday night is art night at Bree's school, right? The one where kids show their parents their projects? Yes, but what if I went with you? Not hiding in the background, but really going. Introducing myself to teachers, meeting other parents, showing everyone that Bree has a father who's proud to be there. Evan, that's exactly what your mother doesn't want. Exactly. And if she wants to make a scene at our daughter's school, in front of teachers and other families, let her. Let everyone see what kind of person she really is. Maya thought about it. It was risky, but hiding hadn't worked. Maybe it was time to stop being afraid. What if she shows up? Then she shows up, and everyone gets to see the choice between a mother trying to protect her daughter and a grandmother trying to control everyone around her. Maya looked toward the living room again. Bri had moved on to drawing what looked like a limo with stick figures inside. You really think this could work? I think your daughter deserves to see her parents standing together, not hiding, not ashamed, not scared, just together. Maya took a deep breath. Okay, let's do it. Really, really. But Evan, if this goes wrong, it won't go wrong, he said firmly. And even if it does, we'll handle it together. There was that word again. Together. For the first time in days, Maya let herself believe it. Thursday evening arrived grey and drizzly, but Maya's nervousness had nothing to do with the weather. She'd spent all day at work, trying to concentrate on her students, while her mind raced through everything that could go wrong at art night. What if Caroline showed up and made a scene? What if the other parents stared and whispered? What if Bree got upset? Mama, you're doing it again, Bree said from the back seat as they drove to school. Doing what, baby? Making worried sounds with your breathing. Maya caught her daughter's eyes in the rearview mirror. Sorry, I'm just nervous about tonight. Why? It's just art night. Everyone's going to see my butterfly painting and my clay turtle and my family collage. Your family collage? The one where I drew me and you and Daddy at the park. Mrs. Rodriguez said it was very good. Maya's heart skipped. She'd forgotten that Bree had been working on a family project. The timing couldn't be more perfect or more terrifying. They arrived at Riverside Elementary just as Evan was getting out of his limo in the parking lot. He'd clearly come straight from work, still in his neat black pants and white shirt. But he'd loosened his tie and his hair was doing that thing where it stuck up in the back. Maya's heart did a little flip. Even nervous and tired, he was still the most handsome man she'd ever seen. Daddy! Bree ran to him as soon as they got out of the car. You came. Of course I came, sweetheart. I wouldn't miss it for the world. He scooped her up in a hug, and Maya watched other parents in the parking lot notice. A few smiled. A few whispered to each other. Most just went about their own business. Are you ready for this? Evan asked Maya quietly as they walked toward the school. No, but I'm doing it anyway. That's my girl. The gym was decorated with colorful paper streamers and filled with small easels displaying children's artwork. Parents milled around with paper cups of juice and store-bought cookies, admiring their kids' creations and chatting with teachers. Maya had been to dozens of these events over the years, but tonight felt different. Tonight she wasn't going alone. There's my painting. Bree dragged them over to a watercolor of a purple butterfly with rainbow wings. I made it when I was thinking about the face painting at the market. It's beautiful, Evan said, crouching down to examine it closely. Look at all those colors. You're a real artist, Bri. And here's my turtle. They moved to a display of clay animals. Bree's turtle was lumpy and painted bright green with yellow spots. It was perfectly imperfect. I love his spots, Maya said. He looks very happy. That's because he found his family, Bree explained, matter-of-factly. He was lost, but then he found them, so now he's happy. Maya and Evan exchanged a look over their daughter's head. And this, Bree said, pulling them toward the back wall, "is my favorite." The family collages were displayed on a long bulletin board. Maya's breath caught when she saw Bree's contribution. It showed the three of them at the park stick figures made from construction paper and fabric scraps. The mommy figure had brown skin and black yarn hair. The daddy figure had pale skin and yellow yarn hair. The little girl figure stood between them, holding both their hands. At the top, in Bree's careful first-grade handwriting, it said, "My family." "Oh, Bri," Maya whispered. "It's perfect. I used the picture from your phone," Bree explained. "The one where we're all laughing." "Which picture?" Evan asked. Maya pulled out her phone and found the photo from the farmer's market, the one that had started all the social media drama. In it, they were standing by the flower stand, all three of them laughing at something Bree had said. They looked happy. They looked like a family. "Can I see?" a voice said behind them. Maya turned to find Mrs. Rodriguez, Bree's teacher, smiling warmly at them. "Mrs. Rodriguez," Bree bounced on her toes. "This is my daddy. His name is Evan, and he drives a limo, and he knows how to fix scraped knees. It's nice to meet you, Mr. Hart. Evan Hart." He shook the teacher's hand. "Thank you for taking such good care of Bree. She talks about your class all the time. She's a wonderful student, very bright, very kind to the other children." Mrs. Rodriguez looked at Bree's collage. She was so excited to include you in her family project. It means a lot to her to have both her parents here tonight. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. Both her parents. Such simple words, but they meant everything. They spent the next hour touring the rest of Bree's artwork and meeting other families. Evan introduced himself to other fathers, asked questions about the school, and generally acted like any other proud parent at art night. Maya watched him interact with Mrs. Chen from the grocery store, who'd posted the original Facebook photo, and saw the older woman's expression change from curiosity to approval as Evan complimented her grandson's painting. This was what Caroline Hart didn't understand. This was what she was trying to destroy. Not some scandalous affair or inappropriate relationship, but just a family, trying to figure things out, like families do. They were looking at a display of self-portraits when Maya noticed a commotion near the entrance. Her stomach dropped. Caroline Hart had arrived. She was dressed impeccably, as always. Navy dress, pearl necklace, perfect hair. She looked around the gym like she was searching for something, or someone. "Evan," Maya said quietly. He followed her gaze and his jaw tightened. "She actually came. What do we do?" Before Evan could answer, Caroline spotted them. She walked across the gym with purposeful strides, her heels clicking on the polished floor. "Evan," she said when she reached them, "I thought I might find you here." "Mother," Evan's voice was carefully neutral. "What are you doing here?" "I came to see my granddaughter's artwork, of course. Surely I'm allowed to take an interest in her education." Bri had been showing a friend her butterfly painting, but now she looked over at the adults. Her expression was uncertain. "Hello, Brielle," Caroline said, her voice noticeably warmer. "I'm so excited to see what you've been working on." "Hi," Bri said shyly. She moved closer to Maya, clearly remembering their uncomfortable encounter on Sunday. Caroline looked hurt by Bri's reluctance, and for a moment Maya almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "Would you like to see my family collage?" Bri asked politely. "It has all of us in it. I'd love to see it." They moved to the bulletin board. Caroline studied the construction paper family for a long moment. "It's very nice, dear," she said finally, "though I notice you only included 3 people." Maya's blood ran cold. "I'm sorry." "Well, families are bigger than just parents and children, aren't they? There are grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins." Caroline looked directly at Maya. "Extended family who care very much about little girls like Brielle." "Bri," Maya said quietly, "why don't you go show Daddy your clay turtle again? I think he wants to take another picture." Bri looked between the adults, sensing tension she didn't understand. But she nodded and took Evan's hand. "We'll be right back," Evan said, giving Maya a look that said he'd intervene if needed. When they were gone, Caroline turned to Maya with a cold smile. "Lovely event," she said. "So many families here. So many stable, established families." "Yes," Maya said carefully. "It's a great school, very welcoming community, I'm sure, though I imagine it can be difficult, being a single mother in a place like this. All these 2-parent families, all this normalcy." Maya felt anger rise in her chest. "Bri and I fit in just fine, thank you." Of course, I didn't mean to suggest otherwise. It's just that children need stability, consistency. They need to know their place in the world. Bree knows her place. She's loved and safe, and now she's confused, Caroline said quietly. One day she's an only child, with just her mother. The next day she has a father she's never met. How do you think that feels for a 6-year-old? Maya wanted to argue, but the words hit too close to home. She had worried about that, about moving too fast, about disrupting Bree's sense of security. Change is hard for children, Caroline continued, especially when that change is temporary. What's that supposed to mean? Caroline glanced around to make sure no one was listening. Evan is young, Maya. He thinks he wants this family life, but he's never had real responsibilities, never had to choose between what he wants and what's practical. What happens when the novelty wears off? What happens when he realizes how hard this really is? He won't leave, Maya said, but her voice lacked conviction. Won't he? He left before. That was different. He didn't know about Bree, and yet he made no effort to find you for 2 years, no effort to reach out, to apologize, to see if you were okay. Caroline's voice was gentle, but her words were like knives. What happens the next time you have a fight? The next time things get difficult? Will he disappear again? Maya felt tears threaten, because deep down, in the part of her heart that was still scared and broken from 2 years ago, she wondered the same thing. I'm not trying to be cruel, Caroline said. I'm trying to protect everyone, including you, by bribing me to stay away from your son, by offering you security, real security. Bree would want for nothing, college, private schools, whatever she needs. And you wouldn't have to worry about what happens when Evan inevitably what? Both women turned. Evan was standing behind them, holding Bree's hand. His face was pale with anger. Evan, Caroline said, I heard what you were saying, he said quietly. About how I'm going to leave, about how this is temporary. Caroline lifted her chin. I'm simply being realistic. Are you? Because it sounds to me like you're trying to convince Maya that I'm going to abandon my daughter. Again. Sweetheart, you have to understand. No. Evan's voice was calm but firm. You have to understand. Maya and Bree are my family now. Not my hobby, not my phase. My family. Bree was looking back and forth between the adults with wide, worried eyes. Is everyone mad? She asked in a small voice. Evan knelt down and took her hands. No one's mad at you, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups just disagree about things. Are you and Mama going to stop being friends? Maya's heart broke at the question. No, baby. We're not going to stop being friends. Promise? Evan looked up at Maya, his brown eyes serious and sure. Promise. Caroline watched this exchange with something like pain in her expression. For a moment, she looked less like a manipulative matriarch and more like a lonely grandmother who'd made all the wrong choices. Brielle, she said quietly, would you like to come have tea with me sometime? I could show you pictures of your daddy when he was little. Bree looked at Maya for permission. Can I, Mama? Maya looked at Caroline, really looked at her. Beneath the designer clothes and cold demeanor, she saw a woman who was afraid. Afraid of losing her son, afraid of being replaced, afraid of a future she couldn't control. Maya had been afraid too. She understood that fear. Maybe, Maya said carefully, if Mrs. Hart apologizes for being rude to Mama. Caroline's cheeks flushed. She looked around the gym, clearly aware that other parents were starting to notice their tense conversation. She began, then stopped. Perhaps we could discuss this another time. There's nothing to discuss, Evan said, standing up. Either you treat Maya and Bree with respect, or you don't get to be part of their lives. It's that simple. Caroline stared at her son for a long moment. Maya could see the war playing out on her face, pride versus love, control versus acceptance. Finally, she turned to Maya. I apologize, she said stiffly. I shouldn't have. I spoke out of turn. It wasn't much of an apology, but it was a start. Thank you, Maya said quietly. Caroline looked at Bree one more time. Perhaps we could try that tea another time, when things are calmer. Bree nodded solemnly. Okay, but only if you're nice to Mama. Despite everything, Caroline's mouth twitched in what might have been the beginning of a smile. I'll try my best, dear. After she left, the three of them stood together in the crowded gym, processing what had just happened. Are you okay? Evan asked Maya. I think so. Are you? I think I just told my mother that my girlfriend and daughter are more important than her approval. Maya's heart skipped. Girlfriend? Evan's cheeks turned pink. I mean, if you want to be. Is that okay to say? Maya looked around the gym full of families, at Bree's artwork covering the walls, at their daughter standing between them with paint-stained fingers and hope in her eyes. Yeah, she said softly. That's okay to say. 3 weeks later, Maya was in her kitchen making pancakes when she heard Bry's voice from the living room. Daddy, can you help me with this puzzle piece? I think it's supposed to be a horse leg, but it looks like a potato. Let me see. Yeah, that's definitely a horse leg. See how it connects here. Oh, now I see it. Maya smiled as she flipped another pancake. Sunday morning, pancakes had become their new tradition. Evan would bring orange juice and coffee, Maya would cook, and Bry would set the table with whatever flowers they'd picked up at the farmer's market the day before. It was simple, it was ordinary, it was perfect. Her phone buzzed with a text from Lena. How's the domestic bliss? Maya typed back, shut up. It's nice. I'm happy for you, sis. Really, even if Evan does put too much syrup on his pancakes. Maya laughed. Lena had come around on Evan pretty quickly once she saw how he acted with Bree. Last weekend, she'd even invited him to her birthday dinner. Mama, Bree called. Can we eat now? I'm starving. Coming, baby. Maya loaded the pancakes onto a platter and carried them to the table. Evan was already there with Bry, both of them sticky with syrup and grinning. These look amazing, Evan said, stealing a bite from the top pancake. They taste amazing too, Bree announced, even though she hadn't tried them yet. Mama makes the best pancakes in the world. I believe it, Evan said, winking at Maya. As they ate, Bree chattered about school and her friends and her latest art project. Evan listened to every word like it was the most fascinating thing in the world. Oh, Bry said suddenly. I almost forgot. Mrs. Rodriguez wants to meet with you and Mama next week. Maya's stomach dropped. Meet with us? Why? Are you in trouble? No, silly. She wants to talk about putting me in the gifted program. She says I'm really smart. You are really smart, Evan said proudly. The smartest kid I know. After breakfast, they walked to the park. It had become another tradition, Sunday walks to feed the ducks and play on the swings. Today was perfect for it, cool and sunny with just a hint of winter in the air. Bree ran ahead to the duck pond while Maya and Evan followed slowly, holding hands. I have something to tell you, Evan said as they walked. Maya's heart skipped. Good something or bad something? Good something. I hope. He stopped walking. I've been looking for a new apartment. Oh, Maya wasn't sure how to feel about that. Something bigger, something closer. To you and Bry. He squeezed her hand. I found a place about 10 minutes from here. 2 bedrooms, so Bry could have her own space when she stays over. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. You want Bree to stay over? I want to be a real father to her, not just the guy who shows up for pancakes and park visits. I want to help with homework and bedtime stories and middle-of-the-night bad dreams. Evan, I know it's a lot. I know we're still figuring things out. But Maya, I love you. I love Bree. I want to be part of your lives. Really, part of them. Maya looked across the park to where their daughter was crouched by the water, talking earnestly to a family of ducks. Her heart was so full she thought it might burst. I love you too, she whispered. Evan's face lit up like Christmas morning. Really? Really? And yes, you can get an apartment with a room for Bree. And yes, you can help with homework and bedtime stories. And middle of the night bad dreams? Especially those. He kissed her then, soft and sweet in the middle of the path, while joggers ran past and dogs barked in the distance. It was perfectly ordinary and perfectly magical. Mama, Daddy, Bree came running over. The ducks ate all the bread. Can we get ice cream now? It's 10 in the morning, Maya said with a laugh. So? Evan grinned. Ice cream for breakfast it is. As they walked toward the ice cream cart, Bry between them swinging their joined hands, Maya felt something she'd never expected to feel again. Complete happiness. Her phone buzzed with a text from Caroline Hart. T, tomorrow at 3. I promise to be on my best behavior. Maya showed the message to Evan, who raised an eyebrow. What do you think? He asked. Maya looked at Bree, who was debating between chocolate and strawberry ice cream with the intensity of a Supreme Court judge. I think everyone deserves a second chance, Maya said finally. Even my mother, especially your mother. She's Bry's grandmother. That matters. Evan kissed her temple. Have I mentioned that I love you? Once or twice, they bought ice cream and found a bench in the sun. Bree sat between them, sticky and happy, chattering about everything and nothing. "Mama," she said suddenly, "are you and Daddy going to get married?" Maya nearly choked on her ice cream. "Bri, what?" "Emma's parents got married after they had Emma. She showed me pictures. There was cake." "Well," Maya said carefully, "sometimes people get married, and sometimes they don't. What matters is that families love each other." "But do you love Daddy?" Maya looked at Evan, who was trying not to smile. "Yes, baby. I love Daddy. And Daddy, do you love Mama?" "Very much," Evan said solemnly. "Then you should probably get married. That's what people do when they love each other." "It's a little more complicated than that, sweetheart," Maya said. Bree considered this seriously. "Well, when you figure it out, I want to be the flower girl, and I want purple flowers, and cake, lots of cake." Maya laughed. "We'll keep that in mind." Later that afternoon, as the sun was setting and they were walking home, Maya felt her phone buzz again. This time it was a picture message from Caroline Hart. It was an old photo of Evan as a little boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old. He was grinning at the camera, his hair sticking up in all directions, a gap-toothed smile lighting up his whole face. The message read, "Thought Brielle might like to see what her daddy looked like at her age. See you tomorrow for tea. Caroline." Maya showed the photo to Evan, who groaned. "She still has that picture?" "You were adorable," Maya said. "Bri's going to love it. My hair was ridiculous." "Your hair is still ridiculous." "Hey!" Bree looked at the phone and giggled. "Daddy, you look just like me." And he did. The same eyes, the same smile, the same unruly hair that refused to stay put. "Must be genetics," Maya said with a smile. As they reached their building, Mr. Alvarez was coming out with his evening paper. "Ah, my favorite family," he said warmly. "How was your Sunday?" "Perfect," Bree announced. "We had pancakes and fed ducks and ate ice cream for lunch." "Ice cream for lunch? Living the dream, mija." Maya looked around at her little chosen family, Evan with his ridiculous hair and gentle hands, Bree with her sticky fingers and endless questions, Mr. Alvarez with his kind eyes and terrible jokes. Even Caroline Hart, trying awkwardly to find her place in their complicated puzzle. It wasn't the family she'd planned. It wasn't the story she'd imagined when she was 25 and scared and alone with a positive pregnancy test. But it was theirs. Messy and imperfect and real. And for the first time in a long time, Maya wasn't afraid of what came next. Because whatever it was, they'd handle it together.